The concept behind our ASE senior project was to create a pocket farm in which we could conduct long-term studies on the production of vegetables. The first challenge of the Spartan garden was to find a plot of land that was large enough for our beds. It needed to be out of the way, have extended access to sunlight, and have usable ground. We were fortunate enough to obtain an empty plot of land located near the medical complex and Popeyes on Memorial Drive. We cleared out the abandoned property and removed all of the overgrown grass in order to make space for our garden and ensure that weeds would not protrude through the soil. The next part of our project was to make a structure for our raised beds. We constructed 3 simple rectangular beds to house our plants. After receiving a generous donation of 2.5 cubic yards of mixed soil from Cowboy Trucking, we filled our beds and were ready to plant. For our fall crops, we decided to plant red romaine lettuce, iceberg lettuce, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, and sweet potatoes. This year's abnormally long winter proved particularly challenging for our garden, and we lost many of the plants during the long freezes. Eventually, the garden thawed and we were able to successfully harvest some of our crops, including some delicious broccoli. In the spring, we added a variety of tomato plants to the garden.
Maintaining our organic garden meant a lot of hard work to ensure that our soil was healthy and could provide the necessary nutrients that our plants needed. Because we didn't add any artificial plant foods, we relied heavily on nourishing our plants with a compost tea solution. This solution is made of bacteria, fungus, and microorganisms. These ingredients grow and replicate once poured onto the soil to nourish the plants.
The microscopic organisms that live in our compost garden are critical to the soil's food web. This organic matter, along with the pH, sodium, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, and zinc levels, are a few components that are fundamental factors of individual plant growth. Beyond being the critical ingredients of photosynthesis and the nitrogen cycle, these elements also provide food for the microscopic organisms in our soil. Sulfur, nitrogen, and iron compounds are the main source of food available to the chemosynthesizer bacteria that derive energy from them. The rest of the bacteria can only get energy from things containing carbon. The upkeep of soil rich with microorganisms is the most efficient form of plant nutrition.
Overall, the senior project has taught us how to incorporate a variety of fields into a single effort. In the process of building this garden, we are forced to become coordinators, contacting different companies and organizations for donations, assistance, and research. While having to fully understand the principles of the engineering involved and manage the scientific side of this project, we also gained experience in the communications field, a skill that will prove to be beneficial for the rest of our lives. The Academy of Science and Engineering has prepared us for our future endeavors and allowed us to expand our knowledge in environmental, industrial, and engineering realms.
We'd like to thank Home Depot for their generous donation of wood and Cowboy Trucking for providing us with such quality soil. We'd also like to thank Mr. Barrett for all his help in finding the location of our Spartan garden.